Is this the end for the Tesla Supercharger network? Some of you may have noticed that Tesla have recently increased the number of supercharger locations that are available for non-Teslas to charge at in the UK. If you weren't aware, there are a number of Tesla locations that anybody can charge at, no matter what type of vehicle you drive. They're not exclusive to Tesla. All you need is the Tesla app, and you can search for open supercharger locations there, and you can start a charge using that app. And in some locations where they have the new V4 superchargers installed, you can actually tap a contactless payment card and you can charge that way. Again, not limited to Tesla vehicles. But the other day there, people started to notice that the number of locations that were open here in the UK had massively increased. There's now about half of all Tesla supercharger sites in the UK are now open to all vehicles, which is really, really good news for people that don't have a Tesla. It's maybe not great news for people that do, given that that means that these sites are going to suddenly get busier. Up until now, there's a handful of sites that were available for everyone, tended to be the places that weren't quite so busy. So you can kind of understand why they would open it up and allow the competition, if you like, to charge there. Because if they're quiet anyway, it gets utilization up, everybody's happy. Some of these sites that they've now opened up are in locations that are a little bit busier, and therefore you kind of got to wonder if it will start to negatively affect the experience for the Tesla customer. As I said though, it's really, really good news for everyone else. Tesla are consistently one of the cheapest networks for rapid charging. So even if you don't have their membership that they offer, but you just turn up and you want to charge your non-Tesla, like this BMW i3 that I'm sat in at the moment, they are usually about 20 to 30 pence per kilowatt hour cheaper than any other network. The going rate for rapid charging in the UK at the moment with networks like GridServe, InstaVolt, etc. is 80 pence per kilowatt hour plus, and Tesla are consistently much, much cheaper than that. So it's really, really good news for everyone that isn't used to having it that cheap. And also, a couple of weeks ago, Tesla actually announced that their subscription package was going down in price. It was £10.99 a month you could sign up for. So if you don't have a Tesla but you want to access cheaper charging, you could pay £10.99 a month and you get access to the same rates as a Tesla driver does, which is a decent discount off the walk-up rate. So if you regularly want to use their sites, it makes it a bit of a no-brainer. They've actually reduced the cost of that to £8.99 a month, making it even more of a bargain. And they're now also offering an annual subscription for £90 a year, so it's even cheaper still. So if you're regularly traveling in areas that have Tesla Superchargers on your routes, you'll save an absolute fortune by signing up for the subscription, whether you pay monthly or pay annually. And now I hear you say, well, that all sounds really good. So how could any of this lead to the end of the Supercharger network as per the title of this video? Well, the other day, Tesla announced that they had laid off their entire Supercharger team. So everyone that works for Tesla that is involved in the rollout and ongoing maintenance, etc. of the Supercharger network no longer has a job. Things are a bit crazy at Tesla at the moment. There are some interesting decisions being made, and the news of layoffs are not uncommon. We're hearing that various teams throughout the organization are at least being slashed, if not binned off entirely. But for them to do that to the entire Supercharger team makes me think that the Supercharger development and rollout is going to slow down, if not stop. They've basically said that the sites that are in flight, well, they will get built, and that will happen. They'll get built, they'll get commissioned, so they're not going to stop anything that's in progress. But it just got to make you wonder what the future holds for the Supercharger network in general. Does this mean that the rollout and expansion of Superchargers is basically going to stop once they build everything that's in flight at the moment? Is that it? Are they not going to expand anymore? And on what planet do they think that's a good idea? I mean, the biggest USP of Tesla, the biggest reason people tell me that they bought a Tesla over any other vehicle on the market was because of that Supercharger network. Knowing that no matter where you go in the country, you can rock up to sites with 6, 12, ultra rapid chargers that will be working, that the integrated system in the car knows are available, directs you to them, knows exactly how long it'll take for you to charge to continue your journey, because it fully understands how long that car will take to charge, and it can pre-warm the battery and all that stuff. And then you can get on your way as quickly as possible. Well, that's a pretty huge USP, but the only way you can continue that selling point and keep selling more and more cars is surely if you keep making the supercharger network bigger and bigger. It's all well and good opening up and giving other people a slice of the pie, because I still think that people driving other EVs using the supercharger network might actually be inclined to make their next car a Tesla, because they see, well, it could be even easier if I can just rock up to those awesome chargers and just plug in, then it just charges and bills me automatically. So the selling point is still there. But if these sites start becoming really busy and the rollout stalls and we don't see more and more of them, then that USP will very quickly go away, and Tesla will find themselves potentially unable to sell any cars. Because the whole reason people were buying their cars as much as they have was because of the charging network. So to lay off the entire team and halt expansion just seems absolutely crazy. The Tesla Model Y is the best-selling car in the world. So to be saying basically, well, you know that reason why an awful lot of people bought this car that's the best-selling car in the world, we're going to drastically cut it back, and we're going to, lay off the team, and we're going to stop development. What is going on? I'd be really interested to see what you think in the comments. So, I think I can kind of predict already that we're going to see two different reactions. So, the fact everything's opening up and more people are going to have access to the superchargers, you're either going to love it or hate it. You're probably going to love it if you don't have a Tesla, and you're going to hate it if you do, because of the fact you might find that you're competing for space with people with other EVs. We also have the issue that the V3 supercharger, the cables can be quite short. So depending on what type of car you're trying to charge, you might actually struggle, because you might find people start to take up two bays or charge on the wrong side or all that kind of stuff, which means Tesla owners might start to suffer. On the other hand, I think the real concern here is the potential for the development of the supercharger network to slow down or stop. It just seems like absolute madness. I don't get it, because already, like, Tesla are, although here in the UK, superchargers aren't everywhere, they're definitely in strategic locations, and there is an awful lot of times where you might come across some of the sites that aren't open to everyone, and you are a little bit envious because you're having to find that single rapid site in the middle of nowhere that might work, might not. That still is a very much a thing. We don't have 6-12 rapid sites everywhere in the UK now from other providers. There are a lot more of them than there used to be, and therefore the supercharger network isn't like the silver bullet that it once was. But I think that slowing down its development or stopping its development is a crazy, crazy thing to do. So I'd love to know what you think in the comments. But that was it. There was just a little bit of an update on this crazy situation that seems to be developing with Tesla. As I say, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I hope that things do sort of settle down a little bit. Everything seems a bit crazy at the moment. Lots of hiring and firing and all that type of stuff. Hopefully things will settle down. Things will kind of get back to something resembling normal. And maybe, a change at the top might mean that they can see sense again and go back to doing what they were doing best. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.